Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We are broadcasting live from Park City, Utah, where I am, and Greg is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So thank you for joining us today. Really happy to have you. As usual on Zoom here, we can see that you're there, but we can't hear you or you cannot speak. But we certainly welcome and encourage your questions as we go along here, and I encourage you to do, exactly that. So we have a lot of people coming on. So if you post your questions as they come to mind, that we can get to as many as possible with our short time today. So Greg and I have known each other for quite a long period of time, but just recently we're prepared to share with you Let's All Do Good. And he also has a stellar background in doing good things, and I'll let him share that in his background. But we super appreciate you being on with us today. For the record, we're going to be recording this and posting it on the Family Office Insights YouTube channel. And we're also going to make sure that if Greg wants to post it on his site, he can do that as well. And of course, we'll also make sure that you, as attendees today, can be in direct contact with Greg to chat further about it if it's of interest to you. And then further, if after seeing what you are experienced today, there are others in your community or network that would find it interesting, we totally encourage you to make sure you put them in direct touch with Greg as well. So all to say that we're not putting a barrier up, we're actually catalyzing connectivity here. So again, thank you for everyone for being here. And shortly after this, we'll be posting, as I said, a couple days to the YouTube channel if you care to review it. So with that, Greg, thank you so much. I'm glad we're able to finally do this together.
I appreciate it, Arthur. I'm incredibly excited. This is exciting.
Great. So carry on. Tell us a little background.
So I'm a geek from Boston, and I've been in the do-good technology space for cause organizations for the past 20 plus years. And in the spring of 2002, quite frankly, driven by an experience I had on 9/11, I founded a company called cMarket, which today is known as BiddingForGood. It's an online auction platform for nonprofits. In fact, it's the largest online auction platform for nonprofits. And so since then, that's what I've been doing, is founding technology companies for social good organizations. And the idea behind this one is really pretty simple. The center of gravity for everyone today is the smartphone. And so the idea was build a platform that literally any organization could use to reach whatever audience they'd like directly on a smartphone in an app with push notifications. And the fundamental value proposition, which I'm just going to repeat over and over again, is that this is about things not being lost in inboxes or in social media feeds. This is about reaching them natively in an app, in a smartphone. And we can do that in our branded products, Let's All Do Good and Union Strong. And we do branded products for our partners. And so what I'm going to do today is give you a little bit of an overview. I'm going to give you a quick demo and then take you through the end of this thing. But there's two things I want to say at the beginning. Number one, things like this, there has to be a kind of a sexy movie Hollywood pitch. This is DoorDash for digital content. The idea here is that last mile delivery of digital content into a smartphone. That's what this platform is about. That's what you're going to see. And the other thing is, it's incredibly exciting to be talking to family offices. Sure, we'd be interested in talking further on the investment side. As, or perhaps more importantly, almost every family office has a big footprint in their local community or regional or national in terms of doing good. And so when you see what we do, we'd love to talk to you more about how we might be able to work with the organizations that you work with and support in your communities. At the end of the day, this is about making do-good organizations do better. So I'm going to start by taking you through a few slides, and then I'm going to give you a quick demo. So let me start with the slides. And so we are working.
Looks good.
Okay, great. And so in the curve, we've proven all of this. The platform works, the platform's scalable, our platform naturally runs on Amazon Web Services. We can handle dozens, hundreds, thousands, and beyond number of organizations. Aspirationally, right now we're just focusing on US and Canada. This is a global platform. Every market on earth, the center of gravity is the smartphone. We work with hundreds and hundreds of organizations today who use our branded apps, Let's All Do Good and Union Strong, to communicate with their audiences. But we have another offering, which is what we call a Your App, YOUR-APP. That's where we create a branded version of the app. It does all the same thing. Nothing's different, provides all the same functionality, but it carries the partner branding on the phone. And if you're a good sized organization, you care about that. And so this is one of our most important kind of business lines, because there's an interesting setup fee and annual subscription for this. And so as you can see on the screen, Jewish Federation of Greater Dallas, they're a customer. Ripley Housing Authority, one of the interesting, the reason I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, is we're at a housing conference. Turns out housing authorities are frustrated with email and social and need new ways to communicate with their residents. But you see Teamsters is up here, and FDNY, and Boilermakers, and HCTA, which is a teachers union down in Hillsborough, Florida, Okefenokee Swamp, a National Park Service location. At the end of the day, we can connect and brand an app for any organization. So we say this glibly, but it's true. The most important piece of real estate really on earth is at the top of the smartphone. That's the thing that we look at all day long. And that's what we interact with, and that's what we react to. So, and that's what we give to these organizations, because fundamentally, and our value proposition here is, organizations are frustrated with email. They are frustrated with social media. We're all fighting with our email inboxes and our social media feeds. We're inundated. And 90% of the time when we're on a smartphone, we're in an app, meaning we're not launching a browser on the smartphone to go to a website. That's important for what we do. And so what we give an organization is the ability to reach exactly the right person at exactly the right place at exactly the right time with exactly the right message. What you see up in the upper left-hand corner, that's a push notification for the West Ohio Food Bank. They use our Let's All Do Good app. They didn't do their own branded app. They use our Let's All Do Good app. And their audience is actually their clients, the people that they serve. And they send out these notifications telling them where the pop-up food pantries are. And they switched over from texting, which was becoming too expensive for them and hard to maintain the phone number list, and switched over to us. So there's just, as you're about to see, there's just two components to this thing: an incredibly easy to use hub, CMS, the content management system. You get to it through a web browser. If someone in an organization can type, they can use this, and they can create rich, actionable content that lands instantly in a smartphone. So with that, I'm actually going to show you this thing, because that's always the best thing to do. So what you're seeing on the left-hand side is an iPhone. Everything we do on an iPhone, we do on an Android. And on the right-hand side is the hub. That's the CMS. You get to it through a web browser. Multiple people within an organization can work on it. And so I'm going to show you both aspects of this, again, very quickly. But as I'm doing this, not only think about it from potentially an investment perspective, but please think about it with the cause organizations, the great do-good organizations that you work with in your communities. So over on the iPhone in the lower row, that happy green smiling face, that's Let's All Do Good. That's our original branded product. Next to that is Union Strong. Interestingly, we were introduced to the New York State AFL-CIO. They saw what we did with Let's All Do Good and said, you have to bring this to the union market. So we did with Union Strong. And then the two icons next to that, and then the 9 icons above, or actually 12 icons above, are all your apps. Those are all branded apps that we've done for various organizations. In that lower row, that's a SEIU 284, and the one next to it is Ripley Housing. Pure dumb luck. A housing authority in Ripley, Tennessee, heard about us, saw a demo, instantly signed up. we created a branded app for them. The ED said, we've been looking for an app for 4 years. You do exactly what we want. And now we're talking to housing authorities across the country. So I'm going to demonstrate this with Healthy Harvest. And actually, I'm going to show you Healthy Harvest Food Bank. It's a food bank in Virginia, as if they're in Let's All Do Good, but we're actually doing a branded app for them. We're in the cohort delivery that they'll get their branded app in September or early October. But I'm going to tap and launch Let's All Do Good as if I'm involved with Healthy Harvest. And so when I do that, the app launches, and the first place it takes me to is to updates. And updates are the latest news, events, and critical information that the organization wants me to see right now. It's not lost in my inbox. It's not lost in my social media feed. If I don't care about something, I can swipe it to the left and get rid of it. If I do care about it and I want to bookmark it, I swipe it to the right. Down underneath, you see the row of icons. X, same thing as the swipe left. Next one over is calendar. This top item is a news item, so calendar automatically grays out. But if it was an event, I could tap the calendar button. It's on my smartphone calendar. The large one in the center takes me to a detailed view of an item. The next one over is social share. For nonprofits, this can be crazy powerful. I can tap that button. I can share this content out to my social graph, to my Facebook, to my Twitter. And the far right icon is bookmark. So again, very quickly, I can go through updates and act on them. When I'm done, I can go to the home view. The home view is all of the current content they want me to see. Current's an important idea. When you add an item, you set an expiration date and time, and it automatically disappears from the app. It's still in the hub. You can republish it again, but you're only seeing the most current stuff. And so I can tap on any one of these items and go to a detailed view. They can publish pictures, as many as they'd like. They can also have video there, a YouTube or Vimeo. They can have up to 12,000 characters of content underneath it. There's the social share button, incredibly powerful. And the volunteer button, that's what we call the good link button. So they can put different labels on that button, and behind it, they can put a URL, an email, a phone number, or a PDF. So when I tap on it, something happens. In this case, when I tap on it, I go right back over to Healthy Harvest's website. If it was a PDF, the PDF would launch on the phone. If it was a phone number, the dialer would come up. And if it was a email, then the default email app on the phone would launch, and with the email filled in. So this is about delivering exactly the right content to the right person in an actionable form so that they can do something with it. So I'm just going to show you a couple things over on the CMS side, on the hub. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on My People. To be clear, these are not my people. These are your people. We can't communicate with them. We don't sell, share, or mine data. There's no advertising in our platform. The only people who can speak to an organization's audience is the organization. And so they see, when people register, they can see who they are, whether they have push turned on. Incidentally, we always caution organizations, your mileage may vary, but on average, 85% of users in our apps are opted in to receive push. Two things: astonishingly high opt-in rate. And number two, that means the person doesn't need to be looking at the app all the time. What's important comes to them. I'm going to show you that in a second. But also notice over on the right, what we call follower tags. This turned out to be one of our most important features. Every organization can set up tags that better identify their audience. I'm on the staff, I'm on the board of directors, I'm a sponsor, I'm a supporter, or in the union space, I'm a journey person, I'm an apprentice, I'm a shop steward, I'm on the e-board. Every organization, any organization can set up their own tags. When you download the app to follow an organization, you select the tag or tags that are appropriate. Notice on some of these, the top two, approval is required. In other words, if I came along and said I'm on the staff at Healthy Harvest, until they approve that tag, it wouldn't be assigned to me. But they can then use tags to deliver content to exactly the right group of people. So they can select a tag or multiple tags. They can create their own custom list. They can even publish content down to individual people. Remarkably powerful. Let me go back over here. Let me go up to the top, to the dashboard. And so this is, you see your top level stats. How many followers do I have in posts and views and shares? In the purple box is what we call the all aboard link. Every organization in our platforms has their own all aboard link. It's unique to them. So they share that digitally. email, newsletter, link to it from their website. When you click on it, it takes you to the App Store, to the appropriate app, Android or iOS, and whether it's one of our branded apps or their branded app. The app downloads, they register, they select from the tags, they're instantly getting your updates. They don't hear from anybody else. They don't see anybody else. We also give the organization a QR code that's unique, that functions in the same way. Put it on posters and flyers and common spaces, and when someone scans it, the correct all aboard link comes to them. They get the app, they select the tags, they're instantly getting updates. But here's the part that's wildly powerful, and that is that I get the app and I'm following Healthy Harvest. Now, if the local animal welfare organization starts using Let's All Do Good and I'm involved with them, when I click on their all aboard link, I don't get the app again. I'm now following both organizations in our platform. There can be an infinite number of organizations that we can support across our ecosystem. So down below, you see the content that you've published. If there's a little green dot, it's live. It's in the app right now. If it were to be red, it's coming soon. Sorry, yellow, it's coming soon. Red, it's expired. So I'm going to create a piece of content. I may as well show you how easy this is, because honestly, if the app's easy and it's hard to use it, you're not going to. So this is easy. And I click next. And I just fill in a form and fast to. You have 12,000 characters of content there, so you can copy and paste from an email or a newsletter or whatever you'd like. Here's that good link button, right? The idea that there's a button, that you can put a label on it and an action behind it. So we give you a bunch of labels, or we can say custom. And I'm going to say call GCM. That's me. And then you decide what you want to put behind that button, a URL, an email, a phone number, or a PDF. And I'm going to do a phone number. And so what'll happen when I tap that on the phone, the dialer comes up. I'm going to add an image because everything's better with images. And so let me just go here and go to demo stuff. And I'm going to select the image of happy smiling people. And you can add another one and another one, as many as you'd like. You can add video, as I said. You can add a YouTube or Vimeo. Now, when there's a phone number or an email behind that good link button, we default the sharing to off, because you don't want people randomly sharing phone numbers or emails to Facebook. But if it was a URL, I could share it. I can have this go live right now, or I can schedule it to go live on July 7th at 9 p.m. It'll appear in that app, in the app on that date and time. I'm going to have it go live now. You schedule when you want it to disappear. It'll disappear on that date and time. And now here's where the tags come in. I can publish this to everybody, or I can turn around and say, nope, I'm just sending this to supporters. It lands in their phone, journey persons, shop stewards, whatever your audiences are. You can select a tag or multiple tags. You can create your own custom list that can be static or dynamic, or as I said, you can publish down to individual people. I'm going to publish this to everybody. And I'm going to add a push notification. Unlike texting, push notifications are free and unlimited. You can send as many as you want, as often as you want. There's no charge for them. So this was fast and easy too. Now I can send a push immediately, or I can schedule it. I can publish this item right now and send a push tomorrow at 4 o'clock, or you can set it up recurring, daily, weekly, monthly, annually, whatever you'd like. But I'm going to send it immediately. And so while we've talked, I've created an item with an image, a call to action, a push notification. And so I'm going to click publish and watch what happens over on the phone, and chug, 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 chug. And the push notification lands and I tap it. And it launches the app and takes me directly to that item. And in this case, I can tap call GCM and the dialer comes up. Sorry, not on Wi-Fi. That's why the image took a little longer to load. But that's how fast and easy this is. And
Hey,
an
Greg,
organization, yeah,
super cool. Can I just a couple quick questions?
you bet.
Is this in any way, and if not, how does it comply with all this privacy stuff that started in Europe and that sort of thing? And then while you're answering that, I know you're probably going to get to this, but is the population of the, let's just say, supporters or members as simple as uploading a CSV file, CVS or whatever, CSV file with the proper fields, and it just populates?
So let me start with that first, and this is why we comply with California, Europe, et cetera. So no, you can't upload a list. You have to onboard people by them clicking on the all aboard link or scanning the QR code. So by definition, so you take that all aboard link there and you, again, share it by email or social and say to your audience, look, we're going to start talking to you through an app. If you'd like to do that, click on this link. They get the app, they register, they by definition have opted in. So you're not uploading a list. The list is building itself by the people who are downloading the app to follow the organization. So that's how we end up in compliance with your
Totally makes sense. I mean, when someone does that, no one reads the terms of services of any app, but basically it solves all those privacy issues, right?
By definition, they have opted in because they've chosen to get the app. Yeah.
Very cool.
So that's it. That's the demo. That's how simple this whole thing is. So now I'm going to flip back to the deck and just run through a few more slides. And so this is, for me, again, I'm a geek, and I love emphasizing this. As we all know, when we're on Facebook, we're the product that's being sold. Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, doesn't matter. That's not the case. This is a private network. Your data, your supporters' data is not shared, sold, or mined. No one can reach your audience in this platform except you. You control exactly what they see and they receive, and everything runs on highly secure, HIPAA-compliant servers. We run on AWS in the same area where Fidelity runs. So we have 3 business lines today. Probably more coming, but we're focused today. There's Let's All Do Good. That's our branded app, and nonprofits can be in it. We charge for a nonprofit to be in it based upon the organizational budget. So if you're a tiny little food pantry, it's just $99 a year. There's no other fees. If you're a nonprofit, your organizational budget is $5 million or more a year, it's $2,999 a year. And worldwide, 5 million organizations easily who could be in Let's All Do Good. In the union space, it's smaller, but we've had terrific success there. So there's 100,000 union locals worldwide, 20,000 in the US. We charge a union local to be in Union Strong, the branded product, from $4.99 to $19.99, depending upon the number of members. But what's interesting, when we're doing one of our webinars, there can be a nonprofit sitting on it that's a $99 a year, and there can be another one that turns into a URAP. URAP is self-selecting. If the organization is large enough, if the union or nonprofit is large enough, they turn around and say, love everything that you do, but we'd like our own branded version. There's a one-time setup fee, one time, that ranges from $10,000 to $40,000, and typically in 60 days or less, the app's in the App Store with their branding. And then there's an annual subscription, because at the end of the day, this is a SaaS business. This is about getting you to sign up and keep signed up year after year after year. And so it's incredibly powerful for the organization. They get an app literally for like one less zero than what apps used to cost them. And then there's this annual fee for them to continue to use it. But for us, we sell Let's All Do Good in Union Strong, and organizations self-identify to your apps. And so our target audience here is what we call a high intensity, high frequency organization. High intensity, you care about them a lot. High frequency, they talk to you a lot. Hunger is a great example. People care passionately about hunger organizations. They get frustrated that they missed something because it was lost in an email inbox or social media feed. Animal welfare, the same thing. If you're a union member, it's the same thing. So we target high intensity, high frequency organizations that are, quite frankly, they self-identify. We don't sell this, we tell this. We show this to you and you decide to use it. Because again, it's not going to do us any good to harangue you and convince you to buy it. If you're not committed to using it, you won't, and you won't re-up next year. So by definition, we're looking for organizations that are frustrated with email open rates and social media, engagement rates. And so very focused, Union Strong, 20,000 locals in the US. And really, our subset today is we're focusing on construction trades, nurses, teachers unions. In fact, tomorrow afternoon, I have a presentation with an SEIU, nurses union out in California that has 30,000 members. And so we talk to presidents, VPs, secretaries, treasurers, et cetera. In the Let's All Do Good space, we focus on animal welfare, food insecurity, faith-based organizations, PTOs, PTAs. Housing, we completely stumbled across this. Ripley Housing in Ripley, Tennessee saw it, said, we want this. We've been looking for it for 4 years. And now we're talking to housing authorities across the country. They have a problem with email. They have a problem with texting. And again, you can see the personas, but out of those two, your apps fall out. So if you're a large enough organization, you care about having your brand on your audience's phone, you self-identify, you want to be a your app. So
Greg, could you just jump back to the other slide one
yeah,
second?
you bet. You bet.
Just that one right there. So real quick, if you don't mind, give a use case for each one of these. Like if someone's using a union, how they're using it and why it's so valuable. And same thing with Let's Do All Good. And of course, I think that you don't need to go into the white label because that's obvious. But,
sure. Yep. So the classic is the union. It's union membership, right? Union membership. The local is frustrated that their members aren't as engaged as they could be or should be. They hate, and I can't emphasize this enough, unions hate social media because comments get hijacked by the disgruntled 3%, 5% of membership. This platform is one way. They get to speak to their members and deliver content to them. And so a union local is using this for what we call retail content. The idea that here's the fish fry, here's the status with the upcoming scholarship program, here's our monthly meeting, here's the latest update on our negotiations with whoever we're all working for. It's retail content that they need their members to be aware of. The interesting thing is, because our platform is connected, as I'm going to hit in a second, the international can be publishing content down through our platform and reach the members. But at the end of the day, it's about the engaged audience. And so that's true on the nonprofit side. So Healthy Harvest, they just signed up. They're in Virginia again. They just signed up for their own branded app. They'll get that in late September. So we were on the call and I said, so who are you going to use this with? And they said, well, we're going to use it with our clients, right? The people that they service. And then before I could do a follow-up, they said, but we're going to use it with our volunteers. We're going to use it with our staff. We're going to use it with our partner agencies that we redistribute food to. And the guys, they said, basically, we're going to use it with everybody. At the end of the day, these are the audiences that we need to reach. And so the beauty of our platform is it can be whoever you want it to be. So we're doing an app for the New York State PTA. They're going to have their own branded app. All of their local units, of which there's 1,380, each one of them under that same app can have a profile, publish content, have their own followers. That's the ecosystem that we build here. And so that's the kind of folks, that's who they're addressing with this. And so Arthur, was that good? I'm going to presume it was.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
Okay. So this is a sales funnel, but the only thing you need to know about it is we talk to people at the top and they matriculate down through the demo process and decide to buy. Again, we don't sell this thing. And so it is all about bringing people into one-on-one demos or into webinars. We have 2 webinars tomorrow, one for Union Strong, one for Let's All Do Good. About 40% of the organizations that see it, buy it. And if they don't, we move them back into the cycle. We keep on talking to them because it turns out there's unions we talked to quite literally a year ago that sign up now. So this is all about expanding the number of people, bringing them into webinars and one-on-ones. We show it. Our demo is 15 minutes long. That means our sales call is 15 minutes long and it's done virtually. And at the end, you decide to buy or you don't. We have multiple secret sauces, which doesn't sound appetizing, but this is one of our most important. All of our platforms, all of our brands run on a common back end. What that means is that ultimately organizations can work cooperatively together. And the example we like to give is once New York State PTA is up and running and New York teachers come on board, and we're talking to them, that's not done yet. Don't want to lead you to believe that's happened. But if and when it does, the New York State teachers will be able to share content with the New York State PTA if they have a common interest on perhaps a piece of legislation. Now, nobody gets to talk to your audience unless you allow them to, but this is incredibly powerful, the ability for organizations to work cooperatively together on our platform. And that's inherent to what we do. And so let me give you an example, a real world business example of this. So we actually have an exclusive agreement with United Healthcare. United Healthcare is a Fortune 5 company. And our deal is with the Public Sector, Labor, and Federal Plans Division. And so they saw such value in this. They are paying for branded Your Apps for their union and public sector partners. So as part of their selling process, they'll turn around and say, you can have an app. And if they say yes, United Healthcare pays us and we build the app for the organization. So that's a really cool, super cool tchotchke that they're able to give these organizations. And that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it for the quote there. This is a competitive advantage. They can bypass the mailbox, the inbox, and the social media feed. Let me explain how. They're creating, as we do, and we're really just in the early stages, that they're a behemoth. And so they're a glacier of glaciers. And so they move slowly, but they move inexorably. And so as they start to roll out, and as we start to roll out more and more union partners, they're creating what we call a feed. That's a feature that we have, force multiplier feed, where you can publish content and share it with others. Think of it like as a channel. And they're creating a health and wellness feed. Their union partners can subscribe to that feed. And then UHC creates an item, something important about COVID or monkeypox or keeping healthy or whatever it is. And they publish that item and they drop it into the feed. And in number 4, it instantly lands in the hub for all of their subscribers. And now, again, nobody gets to publish to your audience except you, but that union local can look at that item and say, our members need to know that. And they click publish and it instantly lands in their phones. And that's the idea here. This is about bypassing the inbox, the mailbox, the social media feed, and reaching an audience directly in their smartphone. This is our first, this is a low 7-figure, but it's a 7-figure deal across multiple years. We think there's huge opportunities in healthcare, in financial services, et cetera. This was a big deal to get out of the way. Okay, so this is what we're looking at. We did 177K in revenue last year. We'll be about $1 million this year, so a healthy increase. And we're looking at doing between 7 and 9 million next year, and we'll be profitable next year. Again, our AWS costs are incredibly low. Our selling costs are incredibly low. This is about driving marketing inbounds and having people see the platform. We also aspirationally, we will be moving this platform around the world. For the next year plus, it'll be North America, but every market on earth, it centers around the smartphone, and we can deliver this platform ultimately in any market on earth. And so we're doing a Series B. We'd like to wrap it up by the end of Q3 or into Q4. We're raising 5 million. And use of proceeds, again, emphasize the point, we've proven this. We need to scale it. We're in the scaling phase, but we've proven it. Unions use it. Nonprofits use it. Housing authorities use it. Arthur asked me before we jumped on, could a for-profit company use this? The answer is yes. If you've got an audience, and you need to reach that audience, want to reach that audience in a smartphone through an app, we can do that for you. We can also do custom integration. We did this for the Boilermakers, which was a 6-figure deal. So we did a branded app for them, and then we did deep integration into their backend systems and databases, delivering member-specific information. So we can take an app off the shelf, LetsAllDoGood Union Strong. We can brand it for a partner. We can even take it further and do deep integration. And so this is scaling. The first up is we're hiring a CRO, and then account executives and BDRs, but we have a very low sales overhead because there's not a lot of selling here, but there's a lot of opportunity around partnership selling. Marketing, and this will expand our marketing department and our marketing reach, and that's the whole thing, filling the top of the funnel. And clearly, customer success is really important. We don't want you to sign up this year. We want you to sign up this year and next and next and next. Aspirationally, we want to be at 90% or above for renewal. That's where we are today. We'd like to get above that because, as we all know, on a SaaS business, you can do it once and you've got the annuity. And product development. And so we're ultimately over the next year plus going to move. We use external resources to do this, but we're going to move product development internally because ultimately the enterprise will be more valuable in an exit scenario. But I want to hit on one thing. Right now today, to do a branded app, we literally take an app and we crack it open and we put branding in it and we move it into the app stores. And so it costs us several $1,000s in engineering time to do a branded app. We're going to be building what we call the naked app. And what that means is branding will be delivered server side. And so we'll have one app sitting in the iOS store and one app sitting in the Google store. And when you click on the all aboard link for a particular organization, that app will download and then we'll load the branding as part of that. And so this will go from costing thousands of dollars today to maybe a couple $100, and we'll be able to do branded apps quite literally overnight. Now, I'm not sure we're going to change the pricing. We may bring the pricing down to a certain extent to dramatically increase the market, but we're going to completely change what the margin model looks like for that. So that's a really big deal, building the naked app.
Hey,
And then,
Greg, before you go to the next one, there's two questions. One is, what's the contract look like? In other words, you own the tech, but as a customer, I own the data, right?
yes.
So if you blow up, and I'm not wishing that for you, then I have to extract my data and then build an app or do something else, right?
Correct. And so just to be clear, in your dashboard for your followers, you can actually tap a button and you can download that at any point in time. Again, it's yours, not ours.
Right.
And so the investment in putting content into the platform isn't very high. And typically what you're doing is you're copying it from someplace else to put it in our platform.
Right. Yeah. Can you just jump back to the pricing slide real quick?
Pricing. That one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Someone just has to look at it as they can.
Okay.
And this obviously is, subject to change. And not only that, it's a function of, I like the way you price on budget. That's very cool. Right.
We feel passionate about a lot of times companies like us, for a small org, it's like we can only have X number of records or Y number of pushes. This is democratization of technology. Everybody gets access to the whole platform. You pay appropriately.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And
there's a question about, are you using any machine learning and AI and that sort of thing as yet?
No, I'm going to give you my typical response to these kinds of things. No, but then probably yes.
Yeah.
But so right now today, no.
Yeah, Scott, we'll make sure you get in touch and share your message with Greg rather than doing it right now. So great, continue.
Okay. So last slide, which really is, so people always ask, okay, what's going to happen to my investment? Honestly, we think this is probably, again, I'll go back to the original point. We're DoorDash for digital delivery. And so there's a lot of interesting potential acquirers for this. And we think that's probably the most likely scenario over the next 2 to 4 years. Salesforce, they have the salesforce.org, which is serving the nonprofit space. It's enormous. Their potential. Blackbaud, which is they're public out of Charleston, South Carolina, multi-billion-dollar market cap. They're number one in SaaS solutions for nonprofits. They could be, but there's a whole bunch of others. And again, we tend to talk about nonprofits and unions, housing authorities, any kind of organization could be using this thing. So, but we do think ultimately this is probably going to be an acquisition. So we've proven scale, then what's next? And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep.
You now know as much as I do.
Yep. And the hammock is put in the attic. So I keep on clicking on this and it doesn't work. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep.
My video somehow reason isn't working. Is the construct of the investment subject to the type of investor, or do you have a convertible note in mind, or is it just?
So we're ultimately, we want to do this round, and realistically, we're probably going to do it in Q4. We've gotten an interesting amount of interest, so we might do a convertible note and kind of do that really kind of quickly, and probably limit it to $1 million. But so anybody who's interested, would love to talk to them, and we'll follow up with that. But we'll probably end up doing a convertible note near term, which will then lead into the round.
Yep. Is it fair to ask how much of the company you've given away to investors at this point?
It's fair to ask. That's not one of the areas. I'm going to say probably about 50%, 55% at the end of the day. You know, I will be honest.
Don't say anything you don't want to say, because this is being
no. It's just what's taken us to get to this place, which is like a really obvious thing, was inobvious over X number of years.
Yeah. And the tech team, is it proprietary to you?
So no, we use an external tech team who we've been partnered with for multiple years. We're bringing another one on board. So our current tech team is in India. We're bringing another one on board that's actually in Colombia. We need to be near shored. We need shorter timeline to responses for things. But ultimately, again, part of what we're going to do out of this raise is we'll hire a CTO, VP engineering, and then build out our own. You know, our base platform is almost finished, particularly once we get the naked app done, and then it'll be building stuff around the edges. And so at that point in time, we'll move engineering in-house, and ultimately the enterprise will be more valuable for an exit.
Yeah, and the naked app thing, basically, if I'm understanding it, is that it doesn't require you to submit a new app to the App Store each time, right?
That's it, exactly. And so if you like the NHL, you get the NHL app. And in the NHL app, you turn around and you say, I like the Bruins. And the icon on the phone changes to the Bruins. Yeah. And so this is server-side branding. And so the idea is, we can do this, like number one, we're not cracking an app open. Number two, we're not managing dozens, hundreds of apps in the app stores, which starts to become a real problem. And so we can basically, out of a naked app, handle an infinite number of branded apps and it changes everything about what we do. Yeah,
super cool. Is the secret sauce patented, or is it proprietary IP?
It's not yet. And so we've as we all know, IP is sport of kings. Yeah. And so, I bounce back and forth on that. There's stuff in here, like we have location-based services, like you can set a location. And if somebody has opted in to push in location services on their phone, you can deliver content based on where they are. Yeah. And I've kind of bounced back and forth. At the end of the day, I think ultimately when people view this is going to be a make-buy. Do I want to go try to build this, or should I just go buy it?
Yeah, the barrier is going to be too big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Super cool. What's the pipeline look like for the people who are doing the demos and opting in? Is that like, I saw your numbers on the funnel. Is the pipeline robust?
Yeah, we have over $1 million in the pipeline today. We have one BDR. We have over $1 million. Effectively, I'm the second BDR. We have over $1 million, a couple of hundred organizations. And again, whenever we, once you start going into a market, it kind of takes off. Like housing, there's 3,300 public housing authorities in the U.S. And so just to give you how quickly this happens, we went to there's a Pennsylvania Association of Housing and Redevelopment Authorities. We went there 2 weeks ago. Walked out of there we looked at it and said, okay, there's 8 solid leads here. 8, because it's one of those, they have to come by and see you, and 3 of them are already closed. That one moves. Unions tend to move slower. The housing authorities have a problem and have money, and so that's why we're down in Baton Rouge. It turns out. It's why the CRO is the next, it's the next hire, because this is about expanding and, expanding in the right sectors and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So aside from me saying it's super cool and thanking you. There's a bunch of folks that are saying this that are attending. So thank you for doing a good job. I want to wrap it up with a final comment, and then we'll make sure we get everybody in touch with you. There's a bunch of things that we'll make sure that you see that people have commented on, and as a matter of record.
Cool. Arthur, thank you so much to you, your organization. You've been terrific to work with, and thank you to
Very
everybody who
kind.
took part.
Yeah, super appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. And as I say, thank you all for being here with us today and spending with us the only thing you can't make more of, and that's your time. Till next time. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.